So this run's actually really interesting. I wasn't initially going to even make a video about it, right? I was planning on making a video with Guinaifen and Black Swan, but this Zero Cycle attempt just worked out so perfectly that I thought, why don't I just post it and kind of go over it, right? This, like, full offensive team, right? We've got E1 Ron May, so the defense shred is applying to Gwyn, to Kafka, to Black Swan. I mean, it is just like, it is crazy. And also, we have pretty much every single element, right? At least 2 elements per enemy are weak to our team, right? So we can wipe out everybody and weakness break them for the most part, so we don't have to take any damage. Like, this is the only damage we take on this side, right? Now, as for the Arcana, I mean, it's just disgusting. It's disgusting the amount of damage the Arcana does when it's weak to everything, right? I mean, it is. And so this is where this is crazy, right? This is just one Black Swan and one Gwyn ult, and the entire thing's dead. Kafka managed to accomplish a basic attack, right? Because she's gonna get imprisoned. She's gonna be completely useless. So Kafka is useless on this second side. It's because I've made a mistake, right? I didn't play correctly with her. Like, and I'm increasing the sanction rate. Like, I should have waited for Black Swan's ult, saved Black Swan's ult until like, right, I should have used Black Swan's ult now, then used Gwyn ult, because then it wouldn't have entered sanction mode. And then what is it? I would be able to not have to worry about it. But I mean, it's just like, it's crazy. So see, Kafka's gone now, but we don't have to do anything. Like, we don't have to trigger any more dots. We don't have to. It's 140, re-trigger, 140 again. It's 280. I mean, it's just like, it's dead, right? So that Black Swan basic is like, okay, whatever, okay, we'll just skill. Like, it even makes a difference because it's enough Arcana to just die. See? I mean, it's just, what the hell was that? Right, so for here on Black Swan, we do have her signature light cone with 120 effect hit rate. Nice. Maxed out that talent, and she is on the prisoner set and on frontline. I can't hit 160, but whatever. Who cares? Who cares that much, right? Yeah. So Kafka is on. Kafka. Come, Kafka. There she is. 153, so she gets fast, but not fast enough to make a difference. So she only gets her 2 actions per cycle. Yeah, beautiful. I don't even know why Kafka's not maxed on these relics. These relics really should be maxed, but Kafka's lightning dots don't do as much. It's the re-triggering of Kafka that's so nice. Beautiful. Now Gwyn, she is the king, the queen. God, amazing light cone. AoE constantly can apply defense threat to everybody. I really want to level these relics up. There's just no relic XP, and I don't farm relics, so it's just, I have to wait for like the little smidges of gold relic pieces that come flying in every week with the simulated universe or some events or something. It's rough life. And this one, I want a break effect set on Run May, but there's no way I'm going to get a ton of break effect in the substats on the break effect sets, and that's a 4-piece, so it's like, that's rough. Now let's talk a little bit about Guinaifen and how we can actually build her to optimally support Black Swan, right? Now, there's a couple of cool things about Guinaifen that are actually better than Sampo or Luca, right? Because all the dot characters are kind of like a mini Kafka, right? In the same way that Kafka can re-trigger her dot, right? Sampo, with his E4, right, can trigger the wind shear of Black Swan, right? In the same way, what is it? Luca, right, with the ult on Black Swan, now making Arcana count as bleed, wind shear, shock, and the third one, right, burn, or the fourth one, his E6 will now trigger the Arcana as if it's bleed, right? So now you have all these different ways of triggering Black Swan's Arcana without Kafka. Now, why is Gwyn special? Well, the reason is because Gwyn's re-trigger isn't tied to her Eidolons, right? Gwyn's trigger is tied to her ult, right? Which might be better for some free-to-play players, right, who don't have Eidolons on the dot characters. Gwyn would be a very good substitute, right, for Kafka. And another thing that actually makes me kind of almost lean towards like triple dot setups is the fact that Guinaifen is essentially just a support dot character, right? Even though her multipliers on her DOTs are relatively high, and her Eidolon also gives her more of a damage bonus on or a multiplier on that dot, it's still shit. It's still nothing. Like your burns are just terrible unless you go for break burns. Right now, that is why you go for a break build mixed with a support build on Guinaifen, right? Now, I actually don't know if this, I may have been playing around with this build, but yeah, so there's like 0 effect hit rate in this build, so this isn't like the correct setup, but you would go for a similar setup with a ton of break effect, and if you could, you do actually want to go for prisoner. Now, even if you get less break effect on a prisoner set than you can with a break effect set, the defense shred, depending on how much forms of defense shred you have from other categories. So for example, Black Swan's skill, or if you have Ron May's E1, for example, that would be like a massive, I mean, that was this run, right? This run was essentially E1 Ron May. Then the defense shred will actually be more valuable than the amount of break effect that you're losing from running the break effect set, or the dot set, right? So that's that. Now, for the Eidolons on Guinaifen, you could go for the Herder Shop, right? So you get more energy and you also get more break effect, right? So similar to a Fermata. But Guinaifen having AoE on everything, right? Or I mean, her skill and her ult makes it so Resolution is the perfect light cone because she's already a supportive unit, right? Like, sure, if you go for a little bit more break effect, you will get a little bit more damage, but you're going to get more team damage, more overall damage with more defense shred. And the closer you get to 100, the better. And for that reason, Resolution on Guinaifen is wonderful. I mean, actually, I think Resolution even on Luca, right? Maybe even on Sampo, although Sampo probably wants effect hit rate, but I haven't built Sampo, so I can't say much about Sampo. But yeah. That is Guinaifen. I will say one thing, it is kind of hard without Kafka to actually get a ton of Fire Kiss stacks on your enemies, especially if you're going for like faster cycle clears. So like for this 0 cycle, I bet the enemies didn't have more than like 2 stacks of Fire Kiss. I'd have to go back and check. But yeah, so that is the Guinaifen, Kafka, and Black Swan 0 cycle. Yeah. So, any suggestions? Leave it in the comments. Any ideas? Comments too? Like the video? Subscribe? Thank you. Adios.